welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. Hello, Coach Kirubai. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and how are you doing, Elizabeth?
I am good, thank you. I am good, thank you. It's been an interesting couple of days, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Indeed, it has. We had a great time. Hello, everyone. We Elizabeth and I had a great time last Saturday. We went for a women's meetup and a fellowship far into Sutton, Wellington. But you know what, Elizabeth, I thoroughly enjoyed myself and the fellowship with the women. And thank you for inviting me. It was great to be amongst women, worshiping, praying, doing some workshops, listening to one another, speak to one another, making new connections.
Absolutely. And you know what? You just mentioned workshops, and I was like, I should have brought my cross.
Oh yes, I have mine here.
Ooh, go and show us.
There goes. So
Oh,
one of
lovely.
my one of my this one of my pieces have fallen down. I need to I
Oh,
need to put some
replace it.
yeah. But you know what? It was very interesting. A great uh, great great activity to sink your hands and mess up your hands and do something. Really lovely, really lovely, well organized, simple. Yet the presence of the Lord was there, and it was
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Absolutely. And you know what? Just as you were holding that up, just the purpose for like those crosses, it was really like the theme for it was beauty in brokenness.
Yes.
And maybe we should talk about that one of these days, because sometimes people don't realize that they're broken. There is beauty in their brokenness.
Mhm.
Like, yes, when you're going through the process of being broken, it's painful, it's uncomfortable, it's frustrating, it's draining, it's all the negative words that you can put to it. But actually, God can take that brokenness and like use it to bring glory to his name.
Mhm.
And like that brokenness can even be the thing that, like, it can be the thing that shows off our uniqueness, the thing that we thrive on. Ooh, okay. So there you go. That's a topic for one of these days.
Yes,
Beauty
we,
in
we,
brokenness.
we should we should speak about brokenness because I mean for me instead, in my life, brokenness has been a stepping stone for all that I do now.
Mm,
Yeah. So it's a good topic, and we saw many women there being touched by the Lord, and yeah, and weeping and rededicating their lives. It was excuse me.
you're excused.
Sorry. So it was good. It was good. It was good. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, we thank God. And you know what? One thing that I really loved about it was that it was very relaxing. It was
Yeah.
not a pressured
Yeah.
atmosphere. It
Hmm.
was very much come and chill in the presence of the Lord, which was really nice.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the food wasn't too bad, so that was good as well.
Yeah. We there was lots of food and uh, lots of drinks and fruits and cakes and desserts. All that's not very good for us, but you know what? One day indulgence, it's all
Yeah,
right.
once in a while, why not?
Yes. Once
But
in a
no,
while.
it was good to just retreat. And the theme for it, or the scripture that was used, was in reference to Martha, and how sometimes we need to like get our priorities right,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and just take the time out to like rest in the place of intimacy with God. Like, remove the weight, stop carrying the weight around, remove it, lay it down, and just be at peace. Be at peace. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. That was just a recap of our amazing weekend. So Kirubai, do you want to introduce today's conversation?
Well, let me have a go at it. So, today we're going to speak about why being persistent is important to our success. When I think of the word persistence, I also reflect on the word push.
Ooh, the word push or the acronym push?
Well, I'm going to go into the acronym push. Persistence is about push until something happens.
Okay, okay. So I'm used to pray until something happens. So
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Prayer, push, but persistent all is also tied up to the word prayer because um, it has to couple. Persistence has to couple with prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we're not talking about prayer today, but we're talking about what makes success happen,
Yeah.
and being persistent, pushing until something happens in our maybe newfound career or a newfound passion, or even our business. Being an entrepreneur for both of to both of us, we have pushed for some time. We have pushed and pushed, and confidence culture conversations is one of those things that we have persisted.
Mm.
No, we have persisted, and every time there is something that we persist to push, definitely you will have challenges and setbacks. You can't run
Absolutely.
away from that. So today we're going to talk about why being persistent attains your goal at the end. The
Mm.
goal being success.
Okay, okay.
So moving on to you, Elizabeth, what is your standard of success? What is success to you?
Oh my days. That's a big question, Kirubai. You
Yes.
don't just throw that question there. What does success? Ooh.
No, but you see, success means different things to different people.
It does, absolutely. It does. It does. Looks like we've got some viewers coming in from Ghana. Hi Samuel. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the
Hi.
conversation today. And if my phone is correct, I believe Helen was on here a minute ago. So Helen, aka Pastor Helen, if you're still there, hello. Thank you for joining us. So when it comes to success, I think for me, success is really being all that God has called me to be. Like it's
Mm,
me walking in purpose. It's me achieving the things that God has called me to do. Because you know, when the Bible where it makes reference to like the verse about well done, my good and faithful servant, like hearing that is like success. Well done. For me, that spells out success. And to be honest, success looks different for different people, like you were saying. For some people, success is money, right? For some
mm,
people, success is happiness, like just having a happy life, like you know. And so it's important for us, yes, to be able to define success. But I think just going back to the idea of persistence, um, when we look at persistence, nothing in life, like success doesn't come in an instant.
mm,
It doesn't come in an instant. You have to there's seeds that must be sown into the ground in order for the fruit of success, right, to happen. And persistence is one of those things. Like you when you're in business, for example, you might put an idea forward and you get a no. Now if you choose to give up, then that's it. That idea is not going to be successful. So you have to have a bond. I'm going to say a bond of persistence, and you have to be willing to just like push, like you were saying, Kirubai, like keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. When you're giving birth to a baby,
mm. Great
it
analogy.
doesn't just pop out like in most cases. I mean, there's some like just in one go, boom, the baby's out. But there has to be a level of persistence on your part if you are delivering the baby. And like every dream is like a delivery. the process to like birthing that baby is like there's a delivery process in there. So you have to be persistent in order to bring that baby forth. And because you cannot predict what's going to happen day to day, like persistence is required, because you might have good days and you might have bad days. But in the midst of the good days and the bad days, what do? Like Tunji says, you keep pushing. You keep pushing.
Hi.
You keep pushing. So
Yeah.
I hope I kind of answered the question there,
Yes.
like about success.
I mean, I like the analogy about giving birth. You know, it's truly a a baby will not pop out. A baby will not be out into the world if the mother doesn't push.
Mm,
And sometimes, you know, when she doesn't push, of course, you can opt out for surgery or things like that. But you know what? We are designed. Women are designed to go through that process of pushing and getting invite what shall I say, introducing the world to the baby through
mm,
our, you know, that last trust. I believe there's a last trust to it. I've not had babies, so I'm just speaking out of what I've read and heard about from people, their experiences. But that's a great analogy. But one of the things about persistence and failure, there is a correlation.
mm, mm,
And a lot of people, because they fail once, twice, thrice, they give up.
mm.
And so, what makes them not give up is the word persistence.
So, so Kiribai, sorry to cut you short. So, how would you, if you were to define the word persistence, what does it mean, or what does it look like?
What it looks like for me is, in a way, is the I know that is the path that I need to take. This is the path, like you spoke about, your passion, your vision, and your purpose.
Mm,
And if you know that this is what God wants you to do, then you cannot let down your guard and say, I give up.
mm,
Because God also sees how you push and prod and pull and provoke yourself to getting into that place of success.
mm.
And I believe, this is my take on it, I have failed many, many times. But
Wow.
what keeps me going is I know God is in this picture.
Mm, I like that.
Yeah. So, because everybody else around you will not, might not see what you see,
Mm,
because the vision is given to you. So you have to, if you put your hands to the plow, you can't take your hands off.
that's it.
Yeah. Does that answer my question? Your
Yeah,
question,
I think
sorry.
no. I think it answers the question. And what came to mind was anything that's worth pursuing requires persistence.
Mhm.
Anything that's worth pursuing requires persistence. Whether that's a dream, whether that's a vision, whether that's just even a lifestyle that you were trying to achieve, like it requires persistence. You can't give up on the first hurdle.
Mhm.
You can't give up on the first failure. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. And I think per, persistence can push us. It can be like a fuel. Like we say, like passion is like a fuel that drives you. And persistence can be like
Mm.
a muscle that keeps you going. Because you're persistent, you keep showing up. Because you're persistent, you keep, um putting your idea in front of people. Because you're persistent, you keep taking certain actions. And Kirabai, there's something that you said about the fact that, like, you might be the only one that has the vision,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
knows the vision. And I think I remember reading John Maxwell's book, Put Your Dream to the Test.
Mhm.
And when I read that book, it really, for me, it really stirred me up, to the and woke me up to the fact that, like, if you have a dream, if that dream is, it's worth pursuing, it's a dream that you want to achieve, then you have to be willing to give it what it takes. You have to be willing to sacrifice. There's things that you have to say yes to, things you have to say no to. And I think part of persistence is that bit. It's being able to say yes to some things, saying no to some things. If you want to, achieve a certain or attain a certain weight, you have to persist.
Mhm.
Habits, how are habits formed? You have to persist with a habit.
Mhm.
If you want to achieve something, you don't just show up one day and all of a sudden success has happened. It takes time. It takes time. And there's a phrase we keep on using in the fix up team when we go into school: success is not by magic, it's by work. So,
Mhm.
and that persistence is the work that you're putting in order for you to achieve the success.
So the work is, sorry, work. I love that work. The work you put is, the work has to be consistent.
Absolutely. It has to be consistent because consistency adds up, right? Consistency compounds. So you have to, you know what? I talk a lot about consistency, right? Because I do the Show Up and Shine challenge
Mhm.
for Christian women. And for me, the idea of doing that challenge was to help Christian women to start showing up more consistently on social media. And when you show up consistently, you see results. When you don't show up consistently, you see a different version of results. In other words, no results, right? And it's like, if you want to bear fruit, if you're a farmer,
Mm.
if you're a farmer and you know that this is the season where I plant this particular crop, and within the next couple of months I should expect a harvest. You have to consistently look after. You don't just plant the seed in the ground and come back months later expecting to find fruit. There's some things that you must do to look after the crop, to look after the plant. There's weeding, there's pruning, there's watering, there's all these things that you must do. And that's you being persistent in a way. And in due time, seed time, harvest, in due time you will see the harvest.
Mm. Persistence is actually, it's the process. It is the
There you go.
process. You got to trust the process of persistence.
Mm,
As you push and push and push, you will, at the end of the road, get success. When I think about persistence and I'm reflecting while you're talking, I think about King David,
mm,
and why King David is, he was the anointed one,
mm-hmm,
but King Saul persistently sought him out.
mm,
Yet he persistently ran and hid because he didn't want to put his hand on the anointed one. But because of his persistence and the reverence that he had for the anointed one, eventually he was he was put on the throne.
mm.
And he could have hid and ran away into the fields and started looking after the sheep, but he didn't, because he knew what God had called him for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Elizabeth, you have a calling, I have a calling, and all those who are watching out there, you have a calling and destiny.
Mm.
But but you need to find out what it is and persistently run that race.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's so many examples out there of people who, I want to say, achieved success in their different fields. And they didn't just do it in one day. You
Mm-hmm.
can see the level of persistence. I mean, someone like Thomas Edison, for example, the
Mm-hmm.
light bulb,
Mm-hmm.
he had to persist because he failed so many times.
Yeah.
Today we are enjoying light. Like, if there was no light in this room, you wouldn't see me. But today we are enjoying light because of someone's persistence.
Mm. And
Someone's persistence.
Colonel Anderson, is it Colonel Anderson, the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy?
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders, sorry, Anderson. I think it was hundredth time or thousand times the last
It
time.
was over 1,000 times.
Yeah, and he finally got the formula to coat the chicken, and we
Mm.
all enjoy KFC. Sometimes, we love that salty chicken, you know. So he never gave up. That's right.
So
Persistence, never giving up.
what that's showing me is that really, like, sometimes you are the things that we can very easily take for granted,
Hmm.
um are really, we are benefiting from somebody's persistence.
Hmm.
Because even the technology that we are using today, it wasn't made in one day.
Hmm.
Somebody persistently tried different things to ensure they had the winning formula. So, if we're going to be successful or leave an imprint, then we have to persist in the things that, I want to say, the things that we are passionate about, but the things that are in our hands to do.
Hmm.
We have to be persistent because, like, you might knock on the door today and they say no. You will knock on it tomorrow, they say no. The day after, they say no. 200 days later, they're saying no. But there could be one day that you show up the 1,000th time and they say yes. But if you gave up, then we wouldn't have experienced the result, the fruit. Hi, Irene. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
We have not seen her for a long time.
It has been a while, but she's here, she's here. So we have to be like, if there is anything that you want to achieve and be successful in achieving it, then you need the key ingredient of persistence. And I love what you said, Kirubai, that it's persistence is like the process. And I think I had also said that persistence is like the work that you must put in to
Hmm.
be successful. So it's like the bedrock.
Mm.
Persistence is like the bedrock. And I can
Foundation.
think of even like God, how he persists in coming after us.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't just try to get you once. Like, he's he'll send people your way. He'll bring dreams. He'll different things to catch your attention.
Mm. So
He
true.
persists on us.
So true. I mean, that's a beautiful analogy because he chased after us.
Yeah, and the song is coming to mind,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. There is a lovely song, right? Elizabeth, what's the title of that song?
Um, I'm thinking of Your Goodness Is Running After Me,
Ah.
but now I'm wondering if that's the right one. But yeah. Oh, this overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases after. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. So yeah, like, there's great examples around us of people who have been persistent, of people who have exercised persistence, and like, we are living testament of them. Like, when I think about, like, my life, if my parents were not persistent in doing certain things, like if they didn't persist in doing certain things, I probably wouldn't be where I am today.
Mhm.
But they persisted. They had an idea in mind, they had a vision in mind, and they persisted. They were diligent, they were faithful, they were consistent. They did certain things to help me to get to where I am today. So, like, the things you're enjoying are the result of someone's persistence.
Mhm. Mhm.
The technology we're enjoying, our phones, this software that we're using to show up in front of you today, like, it wasn't just an idea someone had one day and that was it. They were persistent at bringing this idea to life. So I think one thing that people need to remember is that success might not always be easy. And in saying that, persistence means stretching. Persistence means growing. Persistence means putting in the work. It's like if you're pushing something and this thing is heavy, you can't just push it in one go. You might try today, tomorrow a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and before you know it, you've gotten rid of that thing. But it wasn't just done in one go. You persisted. You never gave up. The Bible encourages us to persist in the place of prayer. And when you say the acronym PUSH, what came to mind was pray until something happens. That's persistence, isn't it?
Mm. And persistent also brings about discipline. It disciplines us.
Growth and discipline.
Yeah. So for you to be successful, you need to grow.
Yeah.
And to grow, you need that discipline, maybe starting the day with prayer and reading the word, and then doing all the things that you need to do towards building that success you need. And I always refer back to John Maxwell. He says 365 days without fail. He gets up in the morning, and I think it's about 4 something,
Mm.
and he persists. He gets up and he starts writing. He has his quiet time and everything in its place, and then there is a flow. So success comes knocking towards him because he is on that pathway of being persistent on the things that he wants to do.
Mm.
So yes, we sometimes, when we go on a holiday, we don't do these things. But some people are so diligent. Oh my God. Oh. But you know what? There is always a leverage. But the things that we want to attain, we have to be persistent and we have to have discipline to run that course, how difficult it may be to run that course. Because a lot of people, I had, when I started my business, there were many naysayers in my life saying, you think you can achieve?
Wow.
You think you can break even? You think you can succeed? But you know what? God never gave up on me.
Mm.
Things were tough. God never gave up on me. So even though it trickles in, but there is movement.
That's
Persistence brings movement in your life.
mm.
Mm,
Mm. Yeah, and I think with persistence, like, we have to be committed for the long haul,
mm,
and it's not about instant. The sad reality is that we live in a society and a generation where people want instant stuff. People want instant meals, they want instant this, instant success. And sometimes this is where we fail with social media, is that we show people we don't necessarily show people like the journey to success. We just show them success.
mm.
We're like, I was here, now I'm here. We've not shown them what happened in between. We've not shown them the sweat and the tears. We've not shown them the persistence. We've not
The
shown them the
vulnerability, yeah.
consistency. We've not shown them the stretching that has been happening. We've not shown them the sacrifices that have had to happen so that we can get to that level of success. And so people come into whether it's a business, they come into something and they're like, yeah, I saw so and so achieve it, so I'm gonna give it a go. And They get in there and it's hard.
Yeah, they crumble
It's
down.
painful.
Mm.
It's stressful. It's frustrating. It's lonely. And they give up. But you have to persist. And this is the thing. I think one thing that is going to help us to be persistent in the things that we are doing is having the end goal in mind.
Mm.
Like have that, like always remind yourself of what is the end goal. What am I trying to achieve here? Or
Mm.
what does success look like in this situation? Because if you keep reminding yourself of the end goal, the picture that you're trying to achieve, your subconscious is going to be motivated.
That's why we have the vision board, my dear.
That's why we have the vision board. There you go. Light bulb moment. If you don't have a vision board, go get a vision board, go create one. We are halfway into 2024. Come
Mm.
on, you've got no excuse. We're halfway into 2024. The things that you set out to achieve at the start of 2024, they are achievable, but you have to persist. You have to you have to become. You don't just be, you have to become.
Mm.
And the becoming process is where you're exercising persistence, is where you're being persistent with your habits, with your, with the actions that you must take. Don't just think that it's going to. They say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Mm.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Some things that have taken people. I look at, for example, I'm going to put his name out there, Action Jackson, right? So
Mm.
he has built a business where, he sends speakers out to speak in schools. He's been doing this for over 20 years. I think it's about 25 or, yeah, he's been doing it for over 20 years. But he started somewhere.
Mm.
He started somewhere. Did he get some no's? Yes, he did. But now he's running a successful business where he actually employs people and sends people out to schools. So if you want to be successful at anything, you have to be willing to pay the price. Because every dream has a cost. Every dream has a price that you must pay. And I'm not saying it's even a financial price, but it's a price on your time, your resources. Like you have to sacrifice.
You got to lay your life down.
You you've got to lay your life down. You've got to lay your life down, seriously. And it's one of those things that you have to remember not to lose yourself in it all. You have to remember not to lose yourself in it all, because sometimes we can get so engrossed in the things that we are trying to chase that we end up missing out on things that are supposed to be important.
Mm.
So even when we are being persistent, we have to remember what our priorities are. When we're being persistent, we have to remember what our priorities are. And you know that, like, you might be trying to achieve this level of success, maybe in a business or in a career, and you're sacrificing your family. You need to go back to the drawing board
Mhm.
and redefine what success looks like. Because you can have all the money, you can have all the accolades, you can have all the awards, but if the people nearest and dearest to you who mean something to you cannot even enjoy it with you, then what's the point? What's the point? Or if even in all the things that you are pursuing, you're not focused on the things that God has called you to do, and as a result, like, it's almost like you are running someone else's race and not your race. That would be a fail. That would be a failure.
I like what you said about focus on the journey.
Mm,
That taking little bites of the journey and enjoying the journey,
absolutely.
be it bitter or sweet, but
Mm,
enjoy, because all these things adds up to your credentials. If I can say credentials, it adds up to having you, adding value to you. So when you come to the end of the road with your success, because success is also, it's in motion, you start
Mm,
small, it's every little bit is a success for you. So it is it's moving, it's running in motion. But
mm,
that enjoying the journey, the bittersweet journey, is very, very important, because we are learning lessons,
that's it.
valuable lessons
Mm,
that you learn, and you might one day share these lessons in a book,
there you go.
or you could be called a keynote speaker,
Mm,
or you could be mentoring somebody.
mm,
And so these little lessons, as much as it pains us, but they are good for us.
that's it.
They're good.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like in the process, yes, we're growing. The process of in that process of being persistent, we're growing. But another thing that persistence can also help us to like be more resilient, because persistence is really, I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to like keep pushing on it, and that's really what resilience is. It's bouncing back from challenges. It's bouncing back from, whatever life throws at
Mm.
you. When life throws lemons, make lemonade.
Mm.
And so like when you're being persistent, it's like you don't take no for an answer. When you're being persistent, you see obstacles as opportunities. When you're being persistent, you see obstacles as opportunities to grow, opportunities to discover yourself. It helps you persist, having a persistent mind, a mindset that's persistent,
Mm.
if there's such a thing. Having a mindset that's persistent helps you to focus on the bigger picture.
Mm.
It also helps you to just keep going. It helps you to keep going. Like when something comes in front of you, you're able to say, okay, go back to the drawing board. How can I work my way around this? How can I get around it? Because actually that end goal, that thing that I have in mind, it's and even like when we bring in the idea of your why,
Mm.
you realize that when your why is strong enough, that persistence, like you don't no one has to beg you to persist.
The fountain of persistence, it's just bubbling within you.
Yeah, because that why is the thing that's pushing you. It's the thing that's like it's drawing on you.
I like that. I really like that. Why do you do what you do?
Mm,
I mean, I always tell myself I can happily retire, but why do I persist to do what I do, to want to touch lives?
mm,
That's where my happy place is.
mm.
Makes me so happy.
I love that.
Yeah. So there's no retirement for me, Elizabeth.
Well, when you're doing what you love, like it's you don't want to stop, do you? You don't want to stop. And I think like God has called us to a life where we are making impact,
Hmm.
and you have to persist
Hmm.
if you're going to make impact.
So impact doesn't have any age limit, huh?
No, it doesn't have an age
No
limit.
expiry date.
No, it doesn't have an expiry date. And even a child can impact you.
Yeah. And,
An old person can impact you.
and
But you
persistence
you
doesn't have an expiry date too.
like there's and it's that thing that you have to determine for yourself. What do I need to persist in?
Hmm.
And persistence requires focus.
Oh, good one.
It requires focus because you can't persist in so many different, you'll be going here, there, and everywhere. You have to say, this is the thing that I am going to face, that I am going to persist in. And you push, You push, you push, you put your energy into it, you put your resources into it, you put what you need to put in it, because this is the thing that you need to persist in. But I think it's important for us to realize that we all have it in us. We all have it in us. It just it's that idea that you need to get a picture for yourself
Mm.
of what you need to be persistent in. Just like I can't define success for you, you define success for you. What does success look like? I can tell you what success looks like for me,
Mhm.
but I don't have your life. So I can't determine what success looks like for you. So I can't tell you you must persist in this area if I don't even know what success looks like for you. One of the things I do with my coaching, so I sometimes have the privilege of coaching people who have a dream that they're working on and they want to make it a reality, right? Or people, should I say, who, particularly women, who want to go from surviving to thriving. Surviving being like life is just happening, thriving being like I'm in control, I am pursuing the things I want to pursue. And when you want change, when you're tired, when you're sick and tired of where you are, when you're sick and tired of what life looks like, there are certain things that you will determine for yourself that you need to persist in. You know, Irene is on here, and one of the things that she determined this year was to persist in the area of growth and developing herself. And she's been persistent at it.
Mhm.
She's been
Well
persistent.
done. Well done,
And I
Irene.
can say that because I have
Agree.
seen the growth. I have seen the persistence in action.
Mm.
Even when life was throwing hurdles, she kept on persisting, and she still is, because that's the thing that she wanted to focus on. So, also depending on the season of life that you're in, the things that you're persistent in might change, or what persistency looks like might change depending on what it is that you're pursuing. So, you have to sit down and just ask yourself, like, what change do I want to see? Right? What change do I want to see? What does change look like? How can I be persistent in this area? Because the reality is, you might even set yourself a goal or set yourself a challenge, and then distractions come.
Mhm.
Distractions come. How do you persist when there's distractions? When there's different things that are trying to take your attention, how do you stay persistent? This is why I said focus is necessary. This is why I said having the end in mind, the end picture, the thing that you're trying to achieve. And I remember one time I said to somebody, this was in a coaching session, and I said, what would you like to achieve? And one of the things she said was, I would like to start a business. And I'm like, okay, so what business? But she wasn't clear on what business she wanted to do. So I'm like, okay, we need to have a clear picture, because what will it look like for you when you've achieved the goal? Whenever you are setting yourself a goal, think about, paint the image, dream about it, imagine it, see it in your subconscious. What does success in this goal look like? Because if you don't know what it looks like, you're just going to keep going in any direction. So you need to know what it looks like. As you're pursuing it, as you're staying persistent in it, you need to know what it looks like, so that you know when you've reached that destination. How do you know you've reached a destination? Well, if you're in a train, for example, they announce it, right? Or you might see surroundings that you're familiar with, and you're like, oh, this is our stop, this is our stop, let's get out. But you've got to determine, what is the end goal you're trying to achieve? What does persistence look like for you in this season? What are the things you need to push in? Coach Kirubai mentioned consistency. What do you need to be consistent in? What changes do you need to persist on and implement in your life? Because if you don't, guess what? You won't achieve the success that you desire. You want to achieve it. Success does not happen. It's not an overnight thing. It's
Mm.
not an overnight thing. Seriously, it's not an overnight thing.
So work in progress.
Sometimes, sometimes we see people who've made it, and we think that, oh, where did they come from? Like that was a what was it? One hit wonder, whatever they call them. Like the person just kind of came out of the blue. But no, there was some work they put into it. There's something they persisted in, they were persistent at doing for them to get to that level.
Hmm. So my take on this is, Elizabeth. Now I have to check myself and say, what area have I not been persistent?
Mhm.
So that's a lot of food for thought.
Mm,
There could be areas that I might be lacking. I think I am lacking. So I've got to put pen to paper and journal it and see where I've lost it, and where is my vision board not going in line with the persistent that I'm persisting. I mean, I'm persisting. So I have to realize, bring that picture to realization, and
mm,
what am I going to do to achieve that picture?
that's it.
Oh, okay. Food for thought.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's actually a good time to think about it, especially like if you're somebody who wants to achieve certain things by the end of the year.
Mm,
And if you are not somebody who wants to achieve certain things by the end of the year, I encourage you to be one of those people because it gives you a sense of direction. You're not just living day to day, but you're working towards something. You're building something. You are moving in a certain direction. Never get to the stage where life is just happening to you. Never get to that place as much as you're able to. You have a level of control. There is a level of autonomy you have. And I know, yes, we say God is in control, but you know that God has given you free will.
mm,
You know that when you wake up in the morning, like you can make decisions. It's not just a case of God is in control, He's deciding everything. There's something that we must do. There's a way that we must walk. There's something you must do. So if you're going to achieve anything, like okay, so I'm a woman of faith, Kiruba, you're a woman of faith, right? And we speak to a lot of women of faith. And if you were going to this Saturday at the retreat, they talked about building intimacy, developing intimacy with God. And how do you do that in the midst of a busy schedule? And some of the things that we said was just like keep bringing God into your day-to-day activities, like
mhm,
persist, be persistent at doing it. If there is something you want, persist on it. Persist in it, regardless of the doors that shut in front of you. Regardless, like if you had a child and you wanted the best for that child, you will keep knocking on every single door. You will wake up every day determined to bring change for that child. There will be, this is why the why is important. What is driving you? Why is it so important for you to achieve this thing? Why is it so important for you to get to that end that you are desiring to get to? Is it going to make a difference to you? Is it going to matter? So one of the things I like to tell the women in the Shop and Shine challenge is, why is it important for you to show up consistently on social media? Because if that why is not defined, let's stop wasting our time. Let's not
yes.
deceive ourselves. There's no
Yeah.
there's no drive, there's no motivation there. You're going to be like this.
Clarity is important for success, you see.
There you go. And when you have that picture of success, when you have that clarity, it helps you to persist. You know that That's not the thing I need to do. This is the thing I need to do. This is the thing I need to focus on. This is the way I need to build. This is what I need to sacrifice. This is what I need to let go of. This is the environment I need to change. This
Mhm.
is the habit I need to start walking in. This is the environment I need to be in. This is what I need to expose myself to. You have to be persistent because there's some things that people can't do for you.
Mhm.
There's some things that people can't do for you. You have to do it for yourself. And you don't have to wait for permission. You just go ahead and you do. You just go ahead and
Mhm.
you become. Don't wait for somebody to give you permission. Take a hold of that thing, that dream, that picture, that end goal. Take a hold of what success looks like for you. Own it. Own it. Own it. Own it. And start to build on it. And people might say this, might say that. Say all that you want to say. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm pursuing. This is where I'm going to persist because I see that end that I desire.
Of course, in life, there are lots of naysayers. Oh, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And you know what? Their opinions don't matter.
Mm,
What matters is what God thinks of you and what you think of yourself. How confident are you in your why?
mm.
Well, persistence is exciting.
Yeah, it
Pers-
is.
Is exciting because I'm motivated, man.
I love it. I love it. Irene, I love that. Thank you. I can see the end that I desire. You have to see it. 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 And you have to see it with like your subconscious needs to get a picture of it. That's why vision boards help. Picture, picture something. What is it that you are working towards? What do you need to be persistent in? And what does persistence look like for you based on the things that you are working on, the things you're in pursuit of? Kirubai, do you have any final words?
No, I'm I'm overwhelmed by the word. There's so
Mm,
much packed into that word
mm,
because for the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to do attributes of character that we
okay.
need to build on. You know, last week we did integrity.
Mm,
Today we are doing persistence. And next week, there will be another word that will come forth. These are things that is good in character building and also to build on for our business, our entrepreneurship, and everything that surfaces around us.
absolutely.
It's very, very important. These words are the bedrock, the foundation
Mm,
of what we have to stand as women and men of faith.
mm, that's it. That's it. You have to be persistent. You have to be persistent. If you want to be successful, if you want to achieve your goals, if you want to achieve that vision, if you want to see the things on your vision board become a reality, you have to persist.
And Elizabeth, this is our 68th episode.
68th or 67th, one of the two.
Okay. And we have persisted since last year.
Absolutely, we have. We
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. So, it just, there have been times that it just been difficult. But you know what? we have gone, we have, I think we could say we are halfway there. There's a success story behind this.
Kirubai, we're not halfway there. We're not halfway there. It depends on what we're trying to achieve, right? But then I wouldn't say we're halfway there. We're off the start mark.
Mm,
I wouldn't say we're more than halfway based on maybe what we had in mind when we initially started.
yeah,
And as you start working on something, the vision grows, the vision widens.
yeah.
So there's a lot more impact that this confidence culture conversations can have.
Mm.
And it's birthing other things. So I don't know if we can measure it as halfway, but we're somewhere. We're on the
Okay,
journey.
fair enough. We're somewhere, but from the time we started, it's taken root
It
to
has.
something else, something beautiful, and something that's impacting lives. So
Absolutely.
we are grateful.
Mm, mm,
So persistence actually involves us being grateful for the little steps that we have taken.
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Ihern. Yeah. No, it's important, and you can't have longevity if you're not going to be persistent.
Mhm.
And if you want to, there's a scripture in the Bible, in I think it's John chapter 15, and it talks about bearing much more lasting fruit. That comes with persistence. Lasting fruit does not just happen, it comes with persistence. So, if you're somebody who wants to produce lasting fruit, who wants to have a good harvest, you've got to be persistent. To give birth to that baby, you've got to be persistent. Right? I think that's it tonight.
That's it.
That's it for tonight. I think just go away and be persistent, right? Go away and do the things that you need to do, the things that God has called you to do. Persist in them, regardless of what people say, regardless of what society says, regardless of what people throw at you. Go and be persistent. And God has given you the grace to make that dream, that vision a reality. So you just keep going, keep going. Don't allow the no to put you off. Keep going. But thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Tunji. Thank you. I think it was Summer from Ghana.
Mhm.
Thank you, Helen, and anyone else who is out there tuning in. And if you do watch this at a different time, i.e., you watch the replay, then hashtag replay, put a comment, say hello. We would love to know. We would love to hear from you. That's it from us. God bless you, and we
Amen.
will be back next week Tuesday, because we are persistent, right? And we are consistent
Woo!
in this thing and showing up, right? So we will see you next week. Please share this video. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, so you can go onto my YouTube or Kirubai's YouTube and you'll be able to find it, and you can share it so that more people can just hear about being persistent, because we need to hear those conversations. Success doesn't happen in a day. Success takes time, seed time, then harvest, right? Seed time, harvest. If you're going to be successful, that's the harvest stage, but it requires seed, time, and harvest. So God bless you. Yeah, God bless you. Keep doing what you were doing.
God bless.
God
Have a
bless
good
you.
day. Bye.
Bye.